Hi everyone, it's Ray here from Man City Fan TV. Well, as you can see, I'm still stuck in my son's bedroom. My wife has been working from home recently and she's taken my studio. So fingers crossed she'll start going back to the office soon and I'll get my studio space back. Normally Andy would do our preview videos with opposition fans, but he's been away working in Lithuania. Lucky old him. And so it's up to me to chat with a Liverpool fan about the game on Sunday. And thanks ever so much to Gareth from the Anfield Wrap for his contributions to this video. So it's just going to be the normal way we do things. We've got questions to ask each other and we'll do them back and forth and with our answers. So first of all, I'll let Gareth introduce himself and then we'll get stuck in.
So I'm Gareth Roberts from the Anfield Wrap and I'm going to answer your questions. Ray has very kindly sent these over. Okay, so number one, his question is, you beat us 3 times last season with a mix of fantastic play and some lucky decisions. Is winning by any means all that matters? Yeah, of course it is. Winning's all that matters. Winning's all that ever matters. But it's nice to do it with a bit of style as well. And I think Liverpool, by and large, have been doing things with style. This season, we've been a little bit more pragmatic. This season, we've relied on the defensive side of our game a little bit more, but that's a good thing. That was always the thing that was our falling down a little bit. So for me, the way Liverpool have been playing this season, allied to what we know about how they've played previously under Jurgen Klopp, gives me loads of hope that Liverpool are going places. Okay, so question 1. Are Liverpool in your head? The reason I say that is your fans seem to talk about Liverpool a lot. Your manager doesn't really seem to like Jurgen Klopp, and he's struggled at times against his football. You're also still talking about this bus incident. Just let it go, lads. So so that's my question 1. Are Liverpool in your head?
Well, your first question, are Liverpool in our heads? I think Liverpool are probably in our heads about as much as City are in Liverpool fans' heads. You know, you guys keep beating us, so it's got to affect us a little bit, you know. But I don't think until about 2013, 2014, there was any rivalry between the two clubs, and there was absolutely no need for the rivalry. We just weren't good enough. Let's be quite honest, for many, many years, and you wouldn't, we were not challenging for anything, so you wouldn't even look at us. And you're looking at that mob down the road at Old Trafford. And your local neighbours at Everton as I guess your main rivals, and possibly Chelsea as well, because they were winning stuff. So we didn't even come into the equation until we actually started winning things. We had some investment and we started winning trophies. And I think that really came to the fore in 2013, 2014, when you were actually good enough to actually challenge for the league title. Up till then, I think you're quite happy, actually, for us to depose Man United. So for somebody else, you know, obviously if you couldn't do it yourself, you wanted somebody else to stop United winning titles, possibly Chelsea as well, after a little bit of history you've had with them over the last few years before that. And so I think probably you're quite happy for us to win our first league title in ages. But since then, and especially that 2013-2014 season where you thought you were going to win it, and let's be quite honest, you should have won it with, was it 3 games to go? It was 3 or 4 games to go. It was all yours to lose, and somehow you managed to slip and let it go. And I think from then, Liverpool fans have created that rivalry. Obviously, you were disappointed, and let's say there was a little bit of bitterness involved as well, because we beat you to the title. And I think fans in general, all fans, they don't like the sense of entitlement that Liverpool fans seem to have these days, and they've had for many years, unfortunately. Especially where the league's concerned, it feels because you had success, and a lot of success in the 70s and 80s, that entitles you to keep winning trophies, and especially the Premier League as it is now. And I think fans don't like that. And also, if you look back, go back to the Champions League final when you were fantastic coming back from 3-0 down at half-time all those years ago. Now, I bet you most genuine football fans in the country, apart from the fans from Man United and Everton, most genuine fans would have wanted Liverpool to win the Champions League back then. This year, I bet you hardly any opposition fans wanted Liverpool to win the Champions League. That's what I'm hearing, what I heard all across the board from many different fan groups. They just didn't want Liverpool to win. They'd turned against Liverpool as a club, and especially the fans. Maybe it's some of the newer fans that have come along and are a bit more vociferous and outspoken and rude. But a lot of fans just have turned against Liverpool for that. You say fans are talking about Liverpool. I don't think it's actually the case. I think most City fans, we don't look at people like that. And in fact, on social media, it's really a response to what Liverpool fans are saying. Now, as I said, you've got some of the newer breed who are a bit more vociferous and rude, and some City fans are naturally going to respond to them. But I think, by and large, especially on social media, it's City fans are responding to the barbs and sometimes quite ludicrous statements and comments from Liverpool fans. You also talk about the bus and say we should let it go. And I think that's quite flippant, and I think it's a serious subject, actually, and it should be treated seriously. You've got to remember, there have been incidents in the past where international teams buses have been attacked. And I think the Sri Lankan team, the cricket team was attacked in Pakistan, and they were sprayed with bullets. The Dortmund team, I think it was had a small improvised bomb placed underneath it. I think was it Mark Bartra got injured. So it is a serious thing when fans are throwing full bottles of beer and bricks and stones and flares. It's dangerous, and I'm absolutely 100% sure that some of our players, especially the kids, I mean, we've got a very young squad now, and I'm sure the kids are 20, 21 years old, 22 years old, on that coach going to Anfield. They'd have been frightened, they'd have been scared, and I think some of them were probably had some shock that affected them, because they've probably never been in anything like that. They probably thought it was a war zone, and they had no idea when this was going to finish. When was this attack going to stop? How far would it go? Would they smash through the windows? Would the fans breach the bus and attack? We have absolutely no idea. And, you know, those kids, they'd have been frightened. So I'm sure that affected them on the pitch. Now, let's be honest, Liverpool started off like a house on fire. They played really well, but I think that coupled with some nerves and probably some shock from some of the City players contributed to Liverpool's spectacular win. And I think if the boot had been on the other foot, now, if the first leg had been at City and we'd treated your coach like that, I'm sure, on the return leg, our coach would have been battered, forgive the pun, black and blue. There'd have been a lot of trouble, a lot more than what happened, what actually happened. And I think Liverpool fans would be going on and on and on about it. I think Klopp would have absolutely lambasted City and the police and everybody else a lot more than Pep did. Pep was pretty quiet about it. He was obviously not happy, but he kept a lot more peace. He kept a lot more inside than I think Klopp would have done. And I think if the boot had been on the other foot, the situation, you'd have still been going on about it right now. So you can laugh about it, but I think it's a serious subject, and it should be taken a little bit more seriously than you're doing right now.
The next question, with Klopp having spent 400 million plus since he arrived at Anfield, does he have to win something this season? How much credit does he have in the bank with the fans and owners? Jurgen Klopp has got lots and lots of credit in the bank with fans and owners, and no one's really bothered about the amount of money he spent who's a Liverpool supporter. That's something everyone else is talking about, that's something the media is talking about, something you're clearly talking about. But for me, I'm happy with the manager, I'm happy with the squad, I'm happy with the players, I'm happy how he spent that money. And when you say, does he have to win something this season? Well, no, but he has to challenge for it. You have to see Liverpool consistently in the top positions now in the league, I think. Consistently top four, consistently latter stages of the Champions League. That's been our problem in the past, that we've managed to mount title challenges, but then we fell away, or we've won something and then we've disappeared. And what we've got to do is stay there, keep mounting those challenges, and one year, yes, it will be our year. And that might not be this year, but we've always got the hope that it will be. But, you know, to pin it to something like he's got to win something this season or he goes, no, I wouldn't say that at all. What I want to see is Liverpool battling, Liverpool fighting, Liverpool challenging. And you know, so far so good in that respect. So no, he doesn't have to win something this season necessarily, but of course it'd be nice. Question 2. Manchester City haven't won at Anfield for 15 years. Now that is a long, long time. Why?
Right, your second question, Gareth. Well, yeah, City haven't won at Liverpool since 2003. That is a heck of a long time. The only good thing about 2003, I think someone wrote on Twitter yesterday that our victory at Anfield actually stopped you getting into the Champions League. So thanks for reminding me about that. A little bit of good memory for us. But in those 14 years, 2003 to 2018, now it is 14, 15 years, I think we've played 17 times. We've lost 12 and drawn 5. And yeah, like you say, we haven't won at all. What's the reason for that? I think there's a few reasons. I mean, I think in the first few years, you were simply too good for us. Let's be quite honest. We didn't have a team to really challenge and to take you on there. You could argue that probably the last 7 or 8 years, we're obviously a much better team. We've been winning league titles. You'd think we'd win in 3 league titles, and the way we've done it, got a lot of points on each occasion, that during that time we'd have won at Anfield in the last 7 or 8 years. But sadly for us, that's still not the case. So you've got that hoodoo, you've got that against us. There's something you've got over us here. We just don't like playing there. And I think our fans don't like it. You can feel it in the fan base. And the players, they don't like the way Liverpool play. Let's be quite honest. And we've said it many times as fans, especially last season, that teams that sit back against us and hope to hit us on the break generally lose. We've got too many good players like David Silva, Bernardo Silva, Sane, Aguero, Kevin, De Bruyne, Sterling. We've got too many good players, and we'll eventually hurt teams. And teams that they play with one up front and hoping to hit us on the break, but they tend to have a massive gap between that striker and the support players. So when they do get the ball up to him, he's got to really hold it up against possibly 2 defenders, and he's got nobody to initially pass it to. But Liverpool play totally different. They play that pressing game, and we don't like that pressing game against good teams and teams that play it well, and Liverpool do play it well. Again, we want teams to press against us because most of the teams don't press well. They press badly, and we can bypass the press, and we're on the break, and we're usually outnumbering their defenders. But Liverpool play it really well, and they put us under a lot of pressure, and we give the ball away. I mean, you can see it's been going on for years. So that's one issue. That's a big issue with us. And Liverpool play in the channels with a lot of pace. So when Liverpool break, they always seem to have at least a couple of players up there to give each other support. And when you're breaking with skillful, quality, fast players like Mane, Firmino and Salah, you're always going to cause trouble. You're going to cause any team trouble. And then you're backed up with your midfielders legging it forward so quickly as well. You're always going to cause problems. And we play that high line. So, it's a recipe for disaster sometimes. And it has happened. You can score 3 goals in 10 minutes. So, yes, you've got that hex sign or whatever you want to call it over us at the moment. But I think it's just a matter of time. It should be a matter of time. Even though you're getting better, I really see an improvement in your results this season over last. We're still a very good team, and it's got to come to an end sooner or later. And so let's fingers crossed it's this year.
Next one, number 3. You are getting over the line more often this season. You're winning games you might have drawn or even lost last season. Is this your year to finally break that almost 30-year drought of not winning the league title? Well, there's the small matter, isn't there, that Liverpool can't control what other clubs do. So last season, Liverpool get 75 points. Manchester City, your club, 100 points. which is a ridiculously high bar. So Liverpool could have a great season this season. We could get more points than we've ever amassed before in a Premier League season. So the most we've ever managed is 86. We could get 89, we could get 90, we could get 92, and we could maybe not win the league because City win more points than that. Is that a failure? Well, it's not in my book. It means that Liverpool have gone close to winning a title, but not won it. But nevertheless, they've been a good side. They've competed. And that's all we're asking for. I think the idea that you pin it saying, this is definitely our year, and if it's not, it's another failure. That's not how I think about football. I've had to shift over the years, unfortunately. Liverpool dominated, obviously, a long, long time ago now. That hasn't been the case for a while. But now it's harder to win things. There's more clubs with money. It's tougher at the top. And it's obviously quite easy if you've got backers giving you millions and millions and millions of pounds after every season, like it happens at Manchester City. We haven't quite got that at Liverpool. We've got bits of money. Lots of it came from Phil Coutinho. But yeah, for me, will it be our year? I don't know. I'd like it to be. I hope it will be. But I'm not, who knows? That's the beauty of football. Question 3. Why do you hate the Champions League? Come on, lads. It's great. Have a laugh. Enjoy it. Get involved. Create an atmosphere. Go far in it. Try and win it. It's that good,
Right. Yeah, third question. Why do we hate the Champions League? I don't think we hate the Champions League. I just don't think we like it. We just haven't taken to it. You got to remember, Liverpool have been playing in the European Cup since, the 70s? I mean, you've been playing in there for over 40 years. So you've got that. Let's be honest, you've got that history built up. You've got that affinity with the competition. You played it so many times when it was the European Cup, and you've won it so many times. So you've got everything there for the Champions League, for these big European nights, as you call them. And we haven't. I mean, we won the league back in the 60s, 68, and when we played in the European Cup, as it was then, I think we got knocked out in the first round. And we've not been back in the Champions League until very recently. We're going back 7 or 8 years since we started getting into the Champions League. So we just don't have that history built up. We don't have that affinity with the competition. And when you consider that we're always in the FA Cup, we're always in the League Cup, and for the last almost 20 years, we've always been in the Premier League. So we've had 3 competitions that we've had a chance to win. And the FA Cup and League Cup for many, many years before that. And we've got a good history in those competitions. So we've got a lot of history in other competitions, and the Champions League has come along to the party late, and we simply don't have that affinity to the competition. And, our last game against Lyon, and we struggled to get 40,000 fans to the game. Now, we've got, I think, about 35,000 season ticket holders who are tied to the Premier League. Fortunately for them, unlike some other clubs, we don't include cup competitions in our season ticket packages. So a lot of them, evening games, people don't want to go. Kids, I took my son to the game. I mean, he went to bed about 11 o'clock at night. And that's too late for 10, 11-year-old kids, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of many other parents. And we just don't have, let's say, the fans that are willing to travel many thousands of miles to come to games. Now, Liverpool, especially and Man United, they've got fans who will come from all over the country, all over Europe, all over the world, in their many, many thousands to games. And City, I think we've got a more local fan base. And so we're not going to get, let's say, the tourists or out-of-towners, not as many coming to our games. So if you're going to miss something, would you prefer to miss a Premier League game on a Saturday or a Sunday at a reasonable time? Or would you prefer to miss a Champions League game at 8 o'clock midweek? Especially where money's concerned. We're not all rich fans, and people have got budgets. So if you're going to toss up between a league game at 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock on a Saturday, or a 4 o'clock on a Sunday, or an 8 o'clock kickoff on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night, I think most fans on a budget will go for the league. That's, as we say, it's our bread and butter. So I think that'll change. Definitely it's going to change over time as younger fans getting into the club and growing up with the club and with the success and always been in the Champions League. That affinity to the competition will develop. It'll just take a few more years. I think if we win the competition or consistently get far in the competition, then it's only natural that people will jump on the bandwagon, and more people will come to watch games.